Good morning, everyone. It's Wednesday, and it's time for me to make another video about what's been going on in here in the shop. And there's a few things to talk about. This is going to be a longer video, so please bear with me. And if you don't understand something, please feel free to leave a comment on the video, and I will answer your question as best I can. Some of you may remember the little screen issues that I had in here with a customer. I have a new laptop as a result of the screen issues that's waiting to be picked up. There was some emergencies, family emergencies this customer was having, so we couldn't get it picked up when I wanted to. Hopefully that pickup will be occurring sometime today. Back over here, we have a custom build that has a power supply that is not working properly. And I'm going to demonstrate now exactly what I mean. First thing I'm going to do is attach the power cord to the back of the power supply. Make sure that's in there good and tight. I think we're good. Now, this plug right here is the main power plug that goes to the motherboard. And attached to it, I have a special test rig. The plug is divided into two sections. The main body of the plug is 20 pins. This is a 20-pin Molex connector. And this is a 4-pin Molex connector that attaches on the side of the 20-pin Molex and makes it a 24-pin so that it can support both older 20-pin Molex motherboards and newer 24-pin motherboards. This came in to me with a complaint of the machine will run for a long period of time or sometimes a short period of time, and then it will shut off and it will not turn on again. Well, when the machine was first brought in, I couldn't replicate the problem, so it was given back to the customer, and about a week later the problem resurfaced and was more consistent. So here we are again, and I was diagnosing the machine, and attached to this 20-pin connector I have this special test rig. This does a couple things. One, it provides a load on the 5-volt side of the power supply. There's a big resistor in here so that the power supply can run properly disconnected from the motherboard. The second thing that this test rig provides, and I don't know if you can see, trying to zoom in on it here, this little wire that's looped around, right where my thumb is, this wire connects the power on signal, which is the green wire in this large harness, to ground, which causes the power supply to come on as soon as I turn on the switch on the back. And then this little LED light is connected to this gray wire and ground, which is the power good signal, which I will explain in a second as it directly relates to what's going on with this power supply. Now, I don't know if you can all hear that, but I've just turned the computer on. And as you can see, the green LED is now illuminated, which shows me that there is some voltage on the power goods signal, but there's still a problem on this line. Attached to the power supply, I have a multimeter hooked up, and it's a digital multimeter set on a DC 20 volt scale, and we're going to do some probing. Now I have the negative lead of the multimeter stuck into the ground and the positive lead of the multimeter stuck into the 5 volt line, which is the red wire on this Molex plug. And as you can see, we're getting a reading of 5.22 volts, which is within the acceptable range for this particular line. Now I've switched the lines. I've switched over to the yellow wire, which is the 12 volt signal, and I'm getting a reading of 12.28, which is a little bit on the high side, but still kind of okay, but it's not really like what I like to see. I like to see it a little bit closer to 12. But now we're going to get to the real meat of the problem here. Oh, the ground fell on me. I apologize for that. I had to mess with the ground wire as the ground fell out of where I had it. I've got the red wire, the red probe, the positive probe of the multimeter, back probing the gray wire of the 20-pin connector. This is the power goods signal. Now, according to the ATX specification, the power goods signal acceptable range is between 3 and 6 volts DC. Anywhere outside that range is not acceptable and will cause the motherboard to have issues that I'll explain in a minute. With the power goods signal back probed, I get a reading of 1.95 volts, which is way out of spec for this line. Most of the lines on the power supplies that I deal with, the PC power and cooling power supplies, which as you may have heard me talk about before in other videos, are the really good power supplies that I deal with. Those power supplies, the power goods signal is always around 5 volts. This one is not even close. What this causes is, on most motherboards, a low or high power goods signal will cause the processor to stay in a continuous reset loop. What I suspect this particular motherboard is doing is because the power good signal is poor, it's shutting off at random. I have a new power supply coming for this computer, and we will put it in, and I expect that it will take care of the problem. I will have an update at a later time regarding exactly what happened with this machine. And again, we're still back probing the gray wire, and it actually just went down as I had my hand on it, 1/10 of a volt to 1.94. I also want you to notice that despite the low voltage, the green light is still on. This green light is supposed to indicate that the power supply is good. The problem is there's no resistor in the line to only allow the LED to come on if the power good signal is between 3 and 6 volts. So the fact that the light is on doesn't necessarily mean that everything is okay. I also have a few other things I'd like to talk about. One of the things is, I believe I may have the first Macintosh adware virus coming into the shop. The customer lives in Plymouth. I'm hoping to get her in here soon, and when she comes in here, there will be a full video and pictures on that situation for everyone here. I believe that will cover everything for this week. I will see everyone soon, and again, I will have further updates on this power supply situation when it's all over. This situation with this computer just reiterates, if any of you remember the long video that I did on custom builds, it just reiterates that if you cheapen out a custom build, they will eventually fail on you, and you will wind up having to do some repair work. I will see everyone next week. Talk to everyone soon. And remember that if you have questions, feel free to leave a comment either on Facebook or YouTube. See everyone soon. Bye-bye.